So good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Well, some of you guys are into it. So we can try that again. Get the rest of you into it. So good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
That's much better. It's a small crowd, but guess what? We have a lot of people that like to watch this. This is a service that we post online. So last week we had like 70 views online, people from all over the country that have watched our service. I had 70. The week before that we had 148 views from, and so we have a lot of people who watch this particular service, and so we really want to cater this one and really direct that towards them as well. Is that this is really where I've gotten it kind of all together. I've kind of gone through it twice now, and I know that this is going to be the one that's going to come off going pretty well. We're in the middle of this series called Being Rich, and most of us, we don't think of ourselves as being rich. We don't. We look at this and we go, "Hey, I don't have the type of money I want, or I don't have." If I had this, I would be rich. If I had this, I would be rich. Really, the Bible, not the Bible, but when we look at things, there's good and there's bad news. And the good news is that you are rich. The bad news is you are rich. If you make more than $33,000, $33,000, so right around $3,000 a month, $3,300 a month, right around there. You make $33,000 a month, or $3,000 a month, or $33,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of the world's earners. You make more than 99% of the world. If you make more than $80,000 a year, you make more than the top 1/10%. So 99.9% of the people, you make more than they do if you make $80,000 or more a year. It's good news and it's bad news. The bad news is that we get upset when our cell phone charger won't reach our bed. But we have so much money. It's so good that we get to go off, and when our wives are pregnant or when something's going on and they need something at 3 o'clock in the morning, guess what? The neighborhood Walmart is open. And we can show up there because all they want to do is make money. So we get to show up and go, "Honey, I want pickles." "Baby, it's 3:30 in the morning. Can you go get me pickles?" "Of course, I will go." It's so bad that most of us, we used to do our best reading when we were in the bathroom. And now there's Wi-Fi there, and it's Facebook and Twitter time. We've changed what we do. It's become harder to depend on God. It really has. You take a step back, and you look at it, and you go, "I don't need to depend on God. I need to depend on money. That's where I find my happiness is in money." We've really lost, and we've forgotten. And what it really has become is the money has distracted us from our greater responsibilities. We've gotten to this point where money is so important to us that it distracts us from what God really wants us to do. In the Bible, there's a story in Matthew 13. There's a story about a guy who's out and he's digging in a piece of property that obviously isn't his. And he finds a pearl, or the kingdom of God. And he digs it up and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I found the kingdom of God." And what does he do? He buries it back up. He didn't steal it or anything. He buries it back up, and then he goes and sells everything he has. He goes and sells all of his possessions in order to buy that piece of property where the kingdom of God is. Everything else didn't matter. All it became time was to pursue the kingdom of God. I'll give you an example that's it's kind of a little different. Is that yesterday we went to Chuck E. Cheese after we got done with service here, after I talked about it a little bit during service. And I said, "Hey, that'd be a great idea. Let's take the kids over there and let's really teach them how to gamble." Because that's what we have done. What we have done is we have taken and we give them tokens. You go in and you buy this $40 special and you get 90 tokens. And what do? They go take these tokens and they go put them into machines. And they pound them into machines, and what do they get back? They get these tickets back to go be redeemed for merchandise. It's the same thing we do when we go to Reno. We go in, we give our money, and most of the time, they give it back to us in chips or tokens. We go shove them into machines, and the machines pay us out in a piece of paper that we go cash in at a window. It's virtually identical to what we're doing, but we're teaching our 2-year-olds and our 5-year-olds and our 7-year-olds to do it early. Here's how you're going to start this. You're going to gamble in order to find happiness, because that's exactly, they're ecstatic about it. Excuse me. And usually when we do it and we go to the casinos, We're ecstatic about it too. We love feeding money into these machines. Why? Because we're looking for that payoff at the end. We're always looking, going, I'm willing to gamble this. I'm willing to put this out. Wealth is deceitful. And we teach our children early. It's very, very deceitful. When we think we're rich, it's very, very deceitful. It's one of these things that you look at this in the world wants you to serve money. But before you go to that slide, this last week, we went out, and you guys may have seen it on Facebook because, Cameron and I are both Facebook addicts. You may have seen this thing. So what we've done is on Thursday, we went and looked at a bus. And we looked at and everybody laughs at this picture. It's like the greatest picture ever. And so we went and looked at this bus. And here's, I made sure that he sent me this picture. I was like, I need this one, because I know if I could have made it any bigger, I would have. It started, But so we went and looked at this bus. And the bus, it's, go to the next slide. There we go. It seats 28. Okay, so that's a better picture. We'll get Cameron out of the middle of that thing. He was disturbing it. He was obstructing the view. And so this bus, we've been looking at different views. We've been looking at different buses since the beginning of the year. And we've gone and we've gone place to place. And we were looking as far as Utah, and we were looking at going lots of different places. And so this particular bus happens to be owned, in case you can't see in the background, it's owned by another church. So they were asking, and guys, I was looking at this bus, and they were asking $6,500 for this bus. They wanted $6,500. We haven't quite raised that type of money yet for this bus. And so I went up there, and I just went up there, and I said, I'm placing my faith in you, God, that you're going to take care of this and that you're going to help deliver. And I had a budget. I had a number. And I walked in, and I said, and as we were done, I'd driven the bus and looked around at it, and I stepped off to the side, and I said, so, you guys don't need the bus anymore, and we need a bus. How about a donation? How about you? And they go, yeah, we're not going to do that. It wasn't a no, but it was, well, we can talk to somebody about that. And we went in and we talked to a guy, and of course they weren't going to donate it, but they did discount it substantially for us. So they took it down, and they were asking $6,500, and we're going to pay $3,500 for this bus. Is what we're going to pay for it. The problem is that we haven't raised all that money yet. So we went in and we said, hey, we're going in with a hope, and we're going in with God's, and we knew that if we came back and we said, hey, we're $1,500 short, from God's plan, is that we knew that our church would help make up the difference. We knew that we said, I can make the commitment, and we put a deposit down to buy the bus, and so it's ours. We don't have it yet, but we need to raise another $1,500 in order to make it ours. And, it's really about $2,000 because we need to register it once we get it. It's $310 to register it. So right around $2,000, we need to raise another $2,000. And I know that with you guys, when you see it and you look at it and you go, yeah, it's a bus. Do we really need a bus? Absolutely. Guys, in case you guys don't know, we feed the senior center in Casa de Sassoon every week. And every week we talk to them. 95% of them do not have a vehicle. They don't have a way to get here. And we've asked, if we were to bring a bus over here, could we get any of you guys to come to church? And we've had 20 of them say yes. The bus holds 28, so they can bring a friend or two. Yeah. So it literally holds exactly what we said. On February 28th, our teens are going bowling. Well, it'd be nice for them to have to take one vehicle with one person who's certified to drive, and they can take them. Not to have them go in 5 different cars, and not to have us going, okay, well, do we do a background check on that parent, and that parent, and that parent, and that parent? It really allows us to be safer as well as to provide adequate transportation. The bus has 28 seats, and it only has 100,000 miles on it. We've been looking at other buses that have 3 times that amount. And it's great looking. It's a little different looking, so when we do finally get all of our graphics around it, it's going to be unique when you see it driving down the road. We just need your help to get there, guys. So as we go through this message, and as I kind of step backwards into this, because I was supposed to talk about this before even diving in, just prayerfully consider, can I help get to that mission? Can I help us get there? Really, really pray for it. And it's, they're great people, and so we don't want to go, hey, we're going to string this thing along, but this is what we're after, and this is where we're going. So help us out here and help us get to that. Let me dive back into the message now. I'm sorry about that. Sorry for my whole left field spiel. So as I was saying, the world wants you to serve money. That's what the world wants you to do. The world wants you to serve money. when we start teaching each other that right at the beginning. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6:24, and most of you have heard this. Most of you see, oh, Matthew 6:24, you don't know the verse, but you've heard it before, because it says, no one can serve two masters. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. You cannot serve both God and money. So now, let's stop here for a second. I want you guys to think about something. Most of our lives have been spent on what we call a paper chase. We've been chasing after a stack of money. The whole life. We go out and we go, I got to get money. I got to get this job. I have to have this. I have to have these things because I have to make this much money in order to provide for my family. The problem is that we haven't stepped back and relied on God and go, God, give me this day my daily bread. Got to remember is that back in the day when these guys were roaming the desert, they had to rely on God. They had to rely on him every day for manna. They had to look at the rock and go, God, if you're going to do it, then this is going to be where it's happening. They got water from a rock. When you think about this, do you have that type of faith? Are you serving God or are you serving money? Is everything about how much money? I got to make this, I got to make that, I got to make this. Because I'm going to tell you right now is that you can't serve both. And if you've been on this paper chase and you've been after this money, you've been continuing going, I got to do this, I got to do this, then chances are you're probably not on the opposite side of the aisle and pursuing God like you're supposed to pursue him and relying on him and going, God, I know that you can take care of this. God, I know that you're going to provide. You cannot serve both. Money is the number one competitor for your heart. It is the number one competitor for your heart. Everything that you do, it usually revolves around that. And it's your entertainment. It's going to the movies. Well, I don't have money to do that. I don't have this or I don't have that. It's the number one competitor for your heart. Money promises what only God can provide. Money promises happiness. We go, if I only had this, if I only had this much more money, I'd be happy. If I only had the Xbox One, I'd be happy. If I only had a brand new car, I would be happy. If I only had this or whatever it is, you can put in your little fill in the blank there. I'd be happy. If I only had a fleet of 6 private jets, I'd be happy. You know, you look at this and go, what is it that you're going to put in there? But it does not. It's a false line. It's that you look at it and go, oh, money provides happiness. No, it doesn't. Money provides security. If I made $150,000 a year, I'd feel so secure. I'd be so happy. Everything would just fall into place and everything would be perfect and life would just, you would hear, I would walk out the door and you would hear the little Tweety birds come up and tweety, 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 all on my shoulders. I'd be so secure, life would be perfect. No, it wouldn't be. Last week I showed a video and somebody, you go off and you're making $150,000 a year and you work for a small company. And all of a sudden that company goes, we're going to lay everybody off. That $150,000 a year isn't so secure anymore because the rug has just been pulled from underneath your feet. And I will tell you, in the great state of California, unemployment is only $450 a week. If you were making $150,000 a year, that's $3,000 a week. That's a big change in income. Not very secure, is it? If your life was hinged on that money, it's not very secure. So you have to start looking at this and you have to start doing, okay, what is it that I really, really need? Because we can go to any of your houses here. We can walk 10 feet in the door. And I say 10 feet because you probably have a hallway or maybe you have some stairs that you have to go up or you have something that goes on. But within 10 feet, there is something in your house that you don't need. Within 10 feet. You walk in and go, yep, I don't need that. That blue little dolphin that's sitting right by the front door that we paid $400 for. But I love dolphins. They're so pretty as they go through the waves. Did you need to buy the glass figurine that's made out of crystal and it looks like a dolphin? No. But that's in everybody's houses. Such a beautiful decoration. Wait a minute. That brought you happiness? Did that bring you security? No, it didn't. But it's so pretty. No, it's not. Because when it comes down to it, when you go, hey, I got to pay the power bill, nobody wants your glass figurine for, here you go. Does that cover it? No. And that's how it is. You buy something that you don't need. You buy these dolphins, or you buy these glass figurines, or you buy, I've walked into houses and I've seen things. I walk in my own house and I see things and I go, oh my God, why do we own this? Why is this here? And then at the end of the year, people cheat on their taxes. I don't have any money, so I got to cheat on this, and I got to lie about my taxes, I got to lie about this income, and I got to lie about that. Oh, don't put that 1099 in there. They don't know about that one. Why? Because we're looking for happiness for what we have. The Bible tells us very clearly, pay Caesar what is Caesar's. What is owed, pay it. You'd be taking your kids, you get to Six Flags, you get to Great America, you walk up and it says, 11 and under, $20 discount. Look at your kid. How old are you? I'm 13. No. You're 11 now. We're going in. Anybody asks you, from today on, you're 11, and you walk up, can I get one adult and 5 kids? Sir, she doesn't look like a kid. Oh, that one? She's my daughter. Talking about your wife. True story. No, I never did that. Never once. Yeah, people accuse her of being my daughter all the time, though. I will tell you, I witnessed something else, is that I saw some people. I was at this is years ago, but I was at a Denny's. We were there, and we're enjoying breakfast, and a family got in a fight, like a physical fight, in the place. And they removed them, right? Because they were fighting. They had cleaned their meal, and everything was done, but the meal wasn't paid for. I walked out after I was done with my meal, and they were out there shaking each other's hands. Hey, we got the wool over them, didn't we? Got in a physical fight to not have to pay for a $20 Denny's meal. We will do anything to keep money in our pockets. We will do anything. We think our whole world revolves around happiness and security around money. We have to change what we're doing. We have to look at this and go, I want to do something different. I want to change what I'm doing. 1 Timothy 6. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth. Command those who are rich in this world. I've already said, if you're making $150,000 a year, you can have that ripped from underneath you very fast. It can come and it can be gone. You lose your house, you lose your car, you lose everything at that point. Do not put your hope in wealth, which is so uncertain. Guys, this was kind of written like 2,000 years ago. They knew it was uncertain then too. They knew it. And they didn't have the type of money we're talking about. They go, it's so uncertain. But to put their hope in God who richly provides us with everything good for our enjoyment. Listen to this. I've never, ever seen a bird go flying by, having a panic attack, or having anxiety. I don't know where I'm going to get the money for groceries later. I've never seen it. It's never been one of those things. It's never flown by, and it looks like it's getting ready it's on 15 different types of medication to control the anxiety it has about not having money. It's like, what they do is it knows. It knows, it relies on God. It goes, give me this day my daily worm. It knows it's going to show up. It's going to be delivered. It does not have anxiety about going, God, I need to have more money to be able to pay for my new house. Instead, it goes out and it collects and it builds straw houses. And guess what? It has to do it maybe a little more often. But it doesn't worry about it. It doesn't put all of its hope in finances because it knows that God is going to provide. It knows that God is going to deliver. It says, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds. Now think about it. Are you rich in good deeds? Are you doing good? Every time that God pours out a blessing for you, do you turn it into praise and do you turn it into another blessing? Every time. Oh. And then the next line is even better, to be generous. To be generous and willing to share. And so often, people get rich, and then they start turning into, it's like they're riding the roller coaster of a lifetime because they get this handful of money, and they start white-knuckling it. You know, it's like they're holding on to the blank bar, you know, in the car with somebody who doesn't know how to drive. They're like, ooh, it's like you're teaching a teen how to drive right now. And you just got your hands on it, and you're trying to find a brake pedal on the floor. That's how tight you're holding on. And you're going, oh! And when you do that, when you're so clenched, everything, the anxiety level, the hurts, everything, what's going to happen like this? When you're holding on and you just don't give up, God can't put anything in. You got to be able to let some stuff out. You got to free up a little bit. You have to be generous, willing to share. I mean, it's so often we go, oh, God, you finally delivered. You gave me this job. And then you go, nope, now it's on a paper chase. I got to get the stack as high as I possibly can. Instead of going, God, I want to give back and I want to do exactly what you're asking me to do. Nope, got to make this. When my money is as high as my coffee cup, then I'll start giving. Then I'll start giving back to God. Then I'll start doing what you've asked me to do. We need to remember that God has blessed us, and he has blessed me with more than I need, and I am rich. I will not trust in riches, but in him who richly provides. We need to remember that. We need to remember that. We need to go, I'm not going to trust in money. I'm going to trust in God. I'm going to trust in what he can do. I know that he can deliver. I know that he can take care of me. I know that he can give me everything that I need. That job that I'm commuting 4 hours a day for maybe isn't. That job that I stress out at every time I'm there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not telling anybody to go off and quit their jobs. But I'm telling you, your life does not hinge on that job that you have. Your life is not revolving. Most people identify themselves. What do you do? I work, I do this, or I do that, or whatever it is. And how much money do you make? It's like the second question that comes out. I make $12.50 an hour. I make $15. I make $50 an hour. If you told somebody you made $15 an hour and they go, well, I make $50 an hour, you would feel inadequate. Why would you feel inadequate? You're doing and you're making do what God has provided for you. God said, here, this is what you need right now. Now grow it and do what I ask you to do with it. It's so often that we get to this point, and we get to this point where people love and trust money. And people who do that never have enough. People who love and trust money never have enough. The Bible tells us, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. Years ago, you would step back. If I only made this much money, everything would be perfect. If I made this much money, everything would be so good. I would have enough. Ask yourself this question. How much money do you have to make to feel totally secure? How much money do you have to make to feel totally secure? I bet it's more than what you have right now. I bet it's more than what you have. Because that's how we all are. I'd feel totally secure if I made this much money an hour or this much money. I used to work in retail management before taking on and doing full, and I had a guy that came to me. He was a salaried manager, an assistant manager for me. He goes, Mike, I'm leaving if you don't give me a $3,000 a year pay increase. $3,000 a year pay increase. I go, and we're sitting there, we're talking about it, and I go, and his name was Jeff, and I said, Jeff, are you serious? I said, do you like working here? Oh, I love working here. I love the animals. I love the people I'm working with. I said, do you have a job offer already that's out there for that moment? No, I don't. But I just need that. That's what I said, Jeff, you need $40 more a week. $40 more. That's what we're talking about leaving for. A job that you love, people you love working with, for $40 more a week. Well, it's $3,000 a year. I said, no, it's $40 a week. I said, that's what we're talking about. You're talking about a quarter more, or you're talking about $1 more an hour. That's what we're looking at leaving our jobs for, because we've gotten to this mindset that we have to be after more money. I need to have this much more, rather than God's already taking care of you and he's providing for you and he's doing so much. Nope, I got to have more money. I have to have more. We get to this point where we think we're secure there. The rich think of their wealth as a strong defense. They imagine it to be a high wall of safety. It's Proverbs 18:11. People who love and trust money never have enough, and they find it increasingly difficult to give big. You know, when you look at this, people who love and trust money, they find it all the time increasingly difficult to give big. They tithe maybe they give some. They look at this some need, but but then they hesitate. And they go, well, if I give, there's not going to be enough for me. If I give, there's not going to be enough for me. It's like the bigger the stack gets, the harder it is for us to give. The bigger it gets, it's like, I can't give it up. It becomes tighter and tighter and tighter, and we trust in the stack rather than trusting in God. Oh, my stack of money is so nice. It's so nice. I'm going to pet it. It's like you guys have all, you remember, well, most of you guys are old enough in here. Oh, gee, George, look at the rabbit. I'm going to pet it and hold it and call it my very own. It's like how we are with our money. Gee, George. That's how we get. We get to this point where it becomes harder and harder for us to give it up and let go and give it to somebody else. People that don't have much are already trusting in God usually. You know, you look at the poor widow in the Bible where she steps back and she goes, this is all I have. And he goes, that's so much more than what everybody else is given. It's so much more. It's not the quantity. It's not about how much it is. It's about where we're putting our trust. She looks at Jesus and she goes, it's yours. What do you think of your money? Is it yours or is it his? Are you using it for what he's asked you to do with it? Or are you doing it? You've got the Trust in Mike plan going, or the Trust in Melissa, or Trust in Cameron plan. You know, not really. You're trusting in yourself. You know, it says, in the midst of a very severe trial, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. For I testify that they gave as much as they were able and beyond their ability. That's 2 Corinthians 8:2-3. You know, most of us, we get to this point, I'll give when I get my student loans paid off, or when my car is paid off, or when this is done. I'm going to give when I get the house that I want. How about you give this answer? I'll give now. I'll give when people have called me to give. I'll give when I need to. I'll give when God has asked me to do that. When God pulls on those heartstrings and goes, this is when you're supposed to be giving. That's when I'll give. I'll give now. It's so often that we step back and we go, I'll give when it's my time to give. And you look at yesterday. And yesterday, for what you guys don't know, we did 2 events from here. We did the Restoration Project, which we're going to do the 3rd Saturday of every month, where we go out and we feed the homeless directly where they're at. Guys, that doesn't happen without your giving. It's impossible. The second, we did the Great Race. And granted, we got a little bit of, the newspaper comes out, but who cares about that? That's really, we don't do it for that. What we do it for is because we get this opportunity to bring in people to be able to go out and serve. To go out and serve and have fun serving. They did obstacles and they go out and they went from place to place. That's another thing that happens because people wanted to serve. But it takes giving, and it takes your giving to make these things happen. Because, guys, these events don't just happen because we planned them at 9:30 in the morning. Okay, guys, this is what we're going to do. They happen because they take weeks of planning. They take us going out, and they take us doing things, and they take us pursuing things. It's not one of these things, I'll give when. It's like, I'll give now because I know this is when I'm supposed to be serving God. I'm supposed to be doing it now. You know, one of the other things that we have is when we have money in the bank, but we have no peace in our hearts. In Proverbs 15:16, it says, better to have a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil. Most of you guys in this room, you earn more than your parents. Your parents made You know, my mom worked for the post office for 30 years, and when she retired from the post office, she made $33,000 a year. That's what she retired with the post office after 30 years of employment there. My first job, I made $50,000 a year. I made more than my mom ever made. And for me, I still never found happiness there. I had plenty of money in the bank. I still never found happiness until I started doing what God really asked me to do. God asked me to do something so much more than chase, because I will tell you right now, is that we had to structure our lives that way we could live on what we make here. My wife owns a hair salon. Because why? Because we were called to do something else. We were called to do ministry, and we were called to reach people for God. It couldn't be, we got to let money hold us up to do that. And so often, we allow money to hold us up from what we're truly supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing something that's very special, and so often it just ends up stopping us. And we become miserable, and we live under financial pressure. And life you start looking at it and go, why is it that I feel this way? I make good money, I have this going on, I have that going on, and why is it that when people that make 1/3 the amount I make, why is it that there's people out there that make 1/3, they seem so much more happier than me? Because they're not living under that pressure. And they're doing maybe what God has asked them to do. They live under the pressure of going, well, God, if it's your will, then that's what it's going to be. And I know that you will provide, and I know that you will take care of me. Where is it that you stand? They don't feel that pressure. But we always walk around, what I really need is money. That's the devil deceiving you. All the time, you look at it and go, what I need is money. Nope, you've been deceived. Most of us believe most of our problems can be solved by more money. We believe it all the time, and you guys are all under the influence of the devil. If I had more money, this would be taken care of. If I had this would be taken care of. Money is not the answer to our problems. Jesus is. Money is not the answer. More money isn't going to help keep your kids off of drugs. More money is not going to help keep your kids off of drugs. It's not how it works. More money isn't going to cure cancer. That's just not how it works. It doesn't go that way. More money isn't going to give you a better marriage. That's not how it works. But now all these places that we put more money, let's change it and go, more Jesus will help keep your kids off of drugs. More of Jesus will help cure your best friend's cancer. More of Jesus is going to give you a better marriage. When you start looking at this and you start changing it, instead of putting more money, put more God. God is what's going to help take care of this. Oh, I'm going to have money in the bank. I'll have peace in my heart. I'll have peace in my home. There'll be peace in my lives. No. More Jesus in your heart, you'll have peace. More God in your home, you'll have a better marriage. When you start looking at it, you start putting things together, you have to remember, we're all rich already. All of us are rich already. Now we have to command those who are rich not to be arrogant. Command those who are rich not to be arrogant. We don't serve money. God has blessed us with more than we need. We are already rich. We already have it. Walk into any one of our houses. There's all kinds of stuff in there that you don't need. There's all kinds of stuff in there. I've walked into people's houses. They got a DVD collection that you've watched them once. Stop buying them. Start renting them. Do yourself a favor. They're just collecting dust. You walk into people's house, they got these beautiful collections. These are things that you look at and go, I love my collections of this. I'm great. But are you really serving the Lord through your collection? Are you really serving God? Because so often we're not. So often we're going, I have to pursue wealth. And we go, when I get to great wealth, there won't be any problems. When you get to great wealth, there's going to be turmoil. There's better a little with the fear of God than great wealth with turmoil. Who wants to be in a hurricane, even if you're rich? Is that where you want to be? Oh, I've got all this money, but my whole life is just spinning around me and it's out of control. I have no idea where it's going to go. I have no idea what's going to happen next. Is that where you want to be at? Or would you rather like to step back and go, God, give me this day my daily bread. I know that you'll provide. I know that you'll take care of me. I know that you'll deliver. You take care of the birds and the bees, and I am so much more favored. I am so much more favored than them. You made me in your image. You know what I need. You know what I want. Step back and look at that. Step back and go, God, you know exactly what I need, and I will depend on you for it. I'm done chasing this stack of money. I want to chase you. Because that's really where we need to be at. The reason why we come out here and we do these series, the Bible talks so often about money because that's so often where we put our heart and we chase after it. 1,000 times the Bible talks about it. It's a pretty big deal. And so often in church, we just try and brush it under the rug. Realistically, our whole lives, we've gone around and we go, if I make this much money, I'll be happy. No. If you have that heart of pursuit, that what you're putting into chasing after that money, if you were to chase after God that way, I will tell you, you will find the most happiness ever. You will find the most content. You'll find that you're at peace. You'll find that your whole life starts to fall into a different place. And guess what? You actually end up starting to have more money in the bank. Why? Because you don't buy as much as what you don't need. You just need to take care of other people. And you need to give. And you're like, I just want to go serve the homeless, or I want to give here. There are so many stories about giving in this church. So many. In the back row, Kevin took a young man that he had just met and went and bought him glasses. You need new prescription glasses. Let's go. Let's get that taken care of. There's so many stories of people that have started a tithe challenge. And they found that after giving 10%, they had more money in the bank and they were closer together and they had a better relationship. So many different stories. Ellen goes out and gives, takes people out socks and underwear just because they can't afford it. And she just goes out and she gives and gives and gives. And finds happiness in doing it. There are so many stories of that. Just in this very room. Just in this very room. It's not about being held back by, hey, I got to have this much money. No. How can I help and pour a blessing out onto somebody else? What can I do? Do I have to hold on to it so tight? Or can I give and then go, I know, God, you're going to take care of it. I know that you'll have the balance of it. I don't even have to worry. Because he will. You just have to have that faith. And you have to start acting that way. And maybe you have to start acting like you believe in him. Maybe you need to start that relationship right now. Maybe you need to start following him right now. Maybe you need to recommit yourself. And go, God, I'm ready to start over right now. Let's pray. God, maybe I need to start over right now. God, I've been living this life and I've been pursuing money and I've been pursuing after wealth, but I've never been content. I just continue to chase after it and I sin and then chase after money more and then sin again and I'm willing to lie on my taxes and I'm willing to do all these different things in order to get more money. God, I want to change all of that right now. I want to change it I want to follow you. I want to recommit myself or I want to start a new relationship with you right now. God, you told us that if I believe in your Son, that if I believe that you sent your Son to wash away my sins, to wash away my brokenness, to make me pure, that in 2 Corinthians 5:17 you said, I will have new life. That the old is gone and the new has begun, and I want that right now, God. I want this change to come over right now, and I want to start pursuing you and start having trust in you. that you will provide every day, that you will give me my daily bread, that you will pour out and you will just take care of me, and I know that you will. God, I believe. And I believe that he's washed me. And I'm ready for a new life, a new change, and I'm ready to let the old go from behind me. Keeping your heads down. If you prayed that with me right now, can you put your hand up? If you prayed that you're ready for this new life, that you're ready for something different, that you're ready that I'm tired of it, it's over. That God, I'm ready to follow you. That I want to commit myself to you. You can put your hands down. Guys, it's a time of celebration to welcome new people in, to welcome them in and go, welcome to your new life. Let's move forward. And let's pursue God, and let's give that need to him instead of pursuing wealth. We've been deceived for so long that that's what we need to have. God, that's not where we need to have it. We need to have you. We need to have your love. We need to have your grace. God, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you are doing in guiding us and leading us. We are so thankful for what you have done and what you are going to do. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.